Hey, it's me, Kathy, and I hope everybody had a happy Easter. And I don't know if you're aware of the tart that I made on Friday. It was a asparagus, ham, and Gruyere tart with hollandaise sauce. And because I did that, and because it didn't use up all the ingredients, I have some ham left, some of the Gruyere left, and a couple of strips of puff pastry. And today, and I had some chicken thighs in my freezer. And today we're going to make chicken cordon bleu wraps in puff pastry. So we'll call them chicken cordon bleu puffs. And I know that regular chicken cordon bleu is made with chicken breast, but all I had was chicken thighs. So we're gonna make it work. Let's do it. The chicken thigh pieces that I have are pretty small, and I only have 2/3 of a puff pastry sheet left. So we're not gonna be able to do a whole lot with that. And it'll just make a nice dinner. And the first thing we're going to do is season and pound these chicken thighs out. We're going to start with some salt and pepper. Some garlic powder. Some onion powder. Now we're going to turn them over and season the other side. Flip them over. We're going to top our chicken thighs with another piece of plastic wrap. And now we're going to pound them out. I want these to be about a 1/2 inch thick. Make it fit and make it work. And here are our pounded out chicken thighs, about a 1/2 inch thick. Our first chicken thigh is laid out on its new piece of plastic. And what we're going to do now is put a layer of ham on top. Oh, I think we'll do cheese first. I sliced this Gruyere that was shredded for the pizza or the tart. So we're going to put that on there. And a piece of ham. Another layer of cheese. Good coverage. And now we're going to roll this up. And wrap it up in this plastic. Make a nice little raw chicken cordon bleu roll. Tighten up the edges. And here's our cordon bleu roll number 1. And here are our 3 chicken cordon bleus. And now we're going to wrap them up. Oh, Kelly's talking. Sprinkle our work surface with just a little bit of flour. And unfortunately, this is what our puff pastry sheets look like, so we're going to have to cut them up, stick them together, and make it fit our chicken cordon. I've rolled out our puff pastry sheet, and I'm not sure if we're going to have enough to do the last one, so maybe we're just going to make 2. And I'm going to start by doing this. And we may have to reassemble that guy. And I think this will work, but I ain't sure. I may have to use this to make sure that these get fully wrapped. So let's give it a shot. I kind of had a thought that this might work. So what we'll do, because that's the bottom, we're going to flip this over and we're going to go corner to corner and side to side. Shape it up. Put it seam side down. And there we have it, all wrapped up and fully enclosed. I got the third one done, and it's a pretty tight fit, but it's fully enclosed. And now we're gonna egg wash them and bake them. Our egg wash is all ready, but before we brush it, I'm going to make a little bit of ventilation and prettiness. This puff pastry is pretty thin, and I don't know if this one's going to work, because it's still split a little bit, because I really had to super stretch this last one out. But let's check it out. The egg wash is to hold it together, so we're going to make sure that we give these total coverage all the way down to the bottom and around the edges. We're all egg washed up, and the oven has preheated to 400 degrees. Our next step before we go into the oven is some thyme to give it a little color and a little herbiness. And very soon we'll be working with all fresh herbs, because my garden is in and it is starting to grow. I know it seems early for those of you that live in the north like I used to. Okay, ready to go in. It's going to take 15 to 20 minutes because that chicken needs to cook. And while it's cooking, we're going to make a Dijon mustard gravy to serve these with. We're going to start our Dijon mustard gravy or sauce with some butter, and when that's melted, we're going to make a roux, add some liquid and some Dijon, and it's going to be really yummy. Our butter is melted. We're going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. We're going to use some chicken stock in this, so we don't need a whole lot of salt. And speaking of chicken, I'm just going to add a little pinch of thyme. Can't wait for my new thyme to come. We're going to incorporate that into the butter, and when we get a little bit bubbly, we're going to add in some flour. Okay, it's time to add our flour. Sprinkle that on. We may need a little bit more, but let's see how we do. I need to get into the corners of this. Get all that flour and stop pushing that pan all over the stove. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more. Our roux is looking good. Now it's time for some cream or some half and half. Stir this constantly till it comes up to the boiling point, because that's when it reaches its perfect thickness. Oh, sounds like the chicken cordon bleu puffs are done, but we gotta check them. puffs are at 157 degrees, so they need to go just a tad longer. And this sauce needs to be a tad thinner. So in goes some more of the chicken, the cream. And speaking of chicken, we're going to add some chicken base to give it a little chickeniness. That'll be a good amount. I'll go whisk that in. Keep stirring it around. It's starting to bubble just a little bit, and it's still pretty thick. And we're going to add in the Dijon mustard, so we may need a little bit more cream. We've reached a nice creamy sauce consistency. And now in goes our mustard. I think about a tablespoon, because chicken cordon bleu is, goes with Dijon mustard very well. I'm going to stir that in. Smelling amazing. Our chicken cordon bleu puffs are out of the oven, 167 degrees, so they are done. And now we're going to serve them up and sauce them up and eat them up. Here we are on a piece of the wedding china. And what I'm going to do now is, because it's a roll, I want to serve it sliced. Here's our sliced chicken cordon bleu puff. And now we're going to accompany it and sauce it. And I had some baby carrots in my fridge, so I cooked them up. And they add a nice little bit of color, and they're going to add a nice little bit of flavor. And we're going to butter them up. I like butter on my carrots. And a little sprinkle of salt and pepper. And now it is creamy Dijon mustard sauce time. And I made a lot of this sauce. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of it, but this isn't going to need much, because you want to be able to taste the ham and the cheese and the chicken and the creaminess of the puff pastry. I mean, not the crunchiness, the crispiness of the puff pastry. And I think that will be enough. And here we have it. Our chicken cordon bleu dinner, inspired by leftover ingredients from something else that I made. And now we're going to take a bite and see how it is. Thank you for joining me while I played with my leftover ingredients. Here's what our chicken cordon bleu puff looks like on the inside. And we've already seen pictures of it. And there's the puff pastry side on the outside. And now we're going in. So yummy. Again, thanks for joining me. And it's always fun to play with leftovers. And we'll see you again soon. Have a good one.